So I really wanted to do a Flameblast build, and I do a Wheel of Fortune to pick between the Gemling Legionnaire, which is the meta class, and the Chronomancer. Turns out the game wanted me to play it on the Chronomancer, so this is my Chronomancer Flameblast build. It's play a little bit of semi-AFK with Ignite Prolif. You don't have to continuously press buttons. There's also a lot of buttons to press. You do a lot of damage, you are really tanky. For bossing, you have to do a little bit of rotation, but then again you have enough damage to one-shot any boss in the game. This build also farms 200% dailies, you can farm expeditions. It's really good for ritual expeditions, any content that have a lot of mobs, because we have Ignite Proliferation. We also have attack for permanent ignites, you can blink around the maps and Flameblast non-stop. We have great recovery. Overall, this is a very well-rounded package in the Chronomancer Ascendancy. And it has a lot of unique things going on in the build. A lot of things that I don't see a lot of people are using. So in this video, I'll try to go through everything. To start off, I want to share a very upskilled +1 cooldown tech that not a lot of people know about. You can see the reason why I was able to blink around the map and constantly using Flameblast pretty much all the time is because I have an extra cooldown on all my skills, including Time Snap. This means that without any downside, I have 11-second cooldown of Time Snap and 4 stack of Flameblast. This means I can go around the map blinking and using Flameblast like that, and Time Snap to get all 4 stack back, and then I have 11 seconds pretty much to spend all these. So I always have it up, but to be able to get this, you need a very specific set of jewels, right? So this is my Undying Hate. Now normally people buy this to just get Sacrifice of Flesh. I don't know why the AoE kinda messed up. But yeah, they buy this just to convert the keystone and they ignore everything else. But if you are able to desecrate them and get this modifier right here, where one conquer notable passive skill become Ancient Reserve, this means that when you have at least 100 tributes, which I do, you have +1 cooldown to all your skills, which is extremely strong in our case for Chronomancer. And we leverage that we have this setup to be able to get a bunch of stacks and cooldown on our skill. But if you are to look to buy this on the market, I don't think you can, because first of all, you can't really search for it. So you can search for a Manimal, and you can't really like search for Ancient Reserve. If you want to look for it, you can go to search for Desecrated Modifier and do at least 3, because the third one will become one of the notable passive skills. And you can kind of like scroll down, but obviously it's a lot harder to find the one that you want. So what I actually did was I crafted this myself, and yeah, I have Intelligent Elemental Damage. This is probably the best one that you can get. Before getting this, I got this one as well, which have like a different passive note. So you can see, depending on your jewels, you're gonna have different thing, right? So Ancient Reserve, it's here. In here I have Intelligent and Elemental Ailwind Threshold. And you can see the notes will be swap it around when you swap the jewels, and you can also divine it to change the small note as well. The only thing that doesn't change is the notable passive skills that come with the jewel. You're gonna find useful notes even if you swap it around. So in my case, this jewel right here, the Ancient Reserve is down here, so I have to spend extra point, move down here, and get this one. And then there's also useful notes like Disciple of Darkness for 20% increased tribute. And yeah, you can see they kind of go around, but I also have fast run stuff here. So it's really up to you, but if you want to play this build and be comfy with the setup, you 100% want Ancient Reserve. It is definitely playable without, but then yeah. And in order to do it, you need to desecrate your Undying Hate. So each of these go for like, I don't know, like 3 divine, 3, 4 divine, and then you desecrate them on your jewels, it have a chance to, you know, unstable, which means that it can destroy the items. But yeah, it's still probably gonna be cheaper to craft it yourself. So, for example, I would need to hit at least 3, and then I need to roll them over here to see if I get what I want, right? I'll just show you how it goes. So that we have all attributes and tributes. So, all attributes pretty good. +1, +5 the tribute is also pretty good as well. It means that it requires less passive. So I think I'm gonna go with this one right here. Right, and then you see we get 4% increase. Yes, it's pretty good, but I really want damage on this one. So there you go. 4% spell damage is pretty good. So I want to take that. And then for the third one, hopefully we're gonna get Ancient Reserve, but if not, we're gonna have to try and desecrate one more time. Alright, so we didn't get it. One more time. Alright, so we didn't get it. So yeah, you can kind of hover and see what this one kind of give. But yeah, it doesn't really matter because we're not going for that anyway. So you have to risk it. Did not really hit this one. And we did not hit this one, but at least this one is pretty good. But yeah, this is how I was able to get an extra cooldown on all my skills. And PoE does not support this. So in case you are wondering, I'm showing you in real time. This is how it kind of works. And this is how I was able to get an extra cooldown on all my skill. Alright, so I want to quickly share how I am able to keep permanent ignites on an enemy. And usually, it doesn't do too much because you just do a lot of damage, but it can be pretty useful for bossing or pinnacle bossings when you have a little bit less damage than I do. So Eternal Flame 3 have 20% chance to refresh ignite duration on crits. Frostflame Nova is a skill that attach to the enemy and it continuously damage enemy as long as there is an ignite. It does prevent them from being ignited further, but it's only applied to the new ignite. So the old ignite when you refresh the duration actually works. And that means that I have Eternal Flame 3 and I just stack crits on the skill. You can see I have a lot of crits on the skill. Then the skill just hits the enemy like every 0.5 seconds, and if it crits, it has 20% chance to refresh the ignite. And I do have a long ignite durations, so it's around 6.5 seconds. So as long as you hit and crits an enemy and it refreshes the duration during the 6.5 seconds, enemies will permanently be ignited by you after you cast your Flameblast to ignite and then use Frostflame Nova. As you can see in the bossing clip right here, the boss is actually ignited by me all the way from the beginning, through all the shadow, through all the cutscene, until the end when he died. So arguably, the best thing that come with the Chronomancer is the defensive package. Now we have a lot of different layers of defensive power when it comes to Chronomancer rework. We take 30% less damage, and then I pair that with Sacrifice of Flesh for another 20% life loss is prevented, which means I take literally 50% less damage from hits. Now, on top of that, I also pair this with the Reverie setups and Chevron Satchel to recover both my life and ES at a rate of about 700 per second, 800 per second. It hovers around 400s on less recovery map mods. And that is just more than enough for the setup. I also split out the damage a little bit even more with the Azir Disdain, which have 10% damage taken from mana before life, and then 10% damage bypass ES. So technically, when you are taking hit damage, the damage is split out evenly, pretty nice. So we are like just basically not really taking any hit damage. And we also ignore any damage over time because of our high recovery, which is great. Now, on top of that, I have the Blasphemy support with Temporal Chain, so enemy is just like extremely slow around us, to the point where if they do hit us, we have all the time in the world to recover as well. And on top of that, I also run a Consecrated Staff, which means that when I put this down, I have that extra life recovery. I also have like reduced effects of Curse as well. And then I also have Rite of Restoration. So when I put this down and I channel a full Flame Blast, right, it goes up to 3 stacks, and I can raise my ES from like 4k to almost 6k, and this one go up to 4 stacks, where you can see that we get a bunch of ES for free, and it's just like extremely strong and lasts a long time together with the Consecrated Ground, so you can like easily run around. And because of like our setup with Ultimate Constellation, I'll get into that in a bit, it also adds damage to the build as well. So yeah, overall we are taking 50% less damage from hit, we ignore all damage over time, we have great recovery, and enemy is slow around us. When it comes to the damage from Flame Blast, the biggest question I have to myself when I play Flame Blast on the Chronomancer is because Gemling Legionnaire gets such huge multiply for free from quality, we don't have a scaling vector, which is why we have to be very careful when we come to scaling the damage of the actual ignites. So flammability, magnitude, you don't want too much of it, you want some, but not too much. As long as you do enough fire damage, which you should from Flame Blast, you should have no problem igniting the enemy. This is basically Ignite Chance. So you want to focus on a few things. You want to focus on Ignite Magnitude, which gonna bring up your Ignite damage per second. Ignite Duration, also do that. Ignite deal damage faster, also do that. So I have a few notes here. But basically, the damage come from the skill gem level, obviously. This is true for all spell build in the game. And then it comes from damage ignite, you do deal damage faster, ignite magnitude, and that is pretty much it, with a little bit of spell damage as well. So you can grab spell damage, area damage wherever you can. So yeah, you just like need a heavier investment when compared to the Gemling Legionnaire, but then they can't really spam Flame Blast, so that's like, yeah, that's their downside. I also choose to go with Ultimate Constellation, which means that if you want to optimize and maximize the damage of Flame Blast, you need to do a little bit of rotation. So my rotation, in case I don't bait anyone, when I one-shot Pinnacle Boss is I put down Sigil Power, we put down all the skills with the cooldown, Frost Bomb, Curse, do this, refresh the cooldown, and then I do my Flame Blast after the Frost Bomb expire, which going to give me Arbiter Ignitions, because when you gain Elemental Archon when you ignite enemy, and I have like enough fire damage on the skills to ignite the enemies, to give me Archon, Elemental Archon, which again give me like 20% more damage from spell. So that is how we can scale our damage from Flame Blast. And it might sound annoying to do, but just remember that in one encounter, you only need to do it once. As long as you have a big enough ignites, it shouldn't be a problem, because you will be able to almost perma-ignite with Frostflame Nova. Once again, it depends on your crit chance, but yeah, you should be able to do that without much issues. And we also have time freeze to help you set up all that, so it's actually quite safe to do. Let me show you the number here. So if I work to use all my spell, bring up the Sigil Power, refresh, use all my skill pretty much, you will see that I'm like double my Flame Blast damage. And that is without Elemental Archon, because I'm standing in high out right now. Now, I already went over most of the items, or like, you know, the runic jewels and stuff like that. These are the jewels. Go ahead and get damage with level 2 Flame Blast. And then you have Ignite Magnitude, recover mana on kill. I would highly recommend you have one mod of this, and that should be enough for you to just like keep your mana full at all time. Also, Megalomania, which there are many good notes that you can use. Mostly if you want to know which note that you should get, type ignites and look in here. If it have something that helps you do more damage, usually it's good. I have Searing Heats here, which give me flammability, magnitude to helps a bit with Element Threshold map, and then ignite deal damage faster, but there are plenty of other good notes, like for example this one is really good. I have it enchanted on my amulet. And the number one questions I would probably get is what mods from Grip of Kulima, so I'm using this. The number one mods that you want to get on this is Ignite Magnitude, basically, for like more Ignite damage. The rest, you can choose whatever that looks good. For example, when you have Cooldown Recovery, which is nice, Spirit Reservation Efficiency, which is also nice, and have Chaos Resistant. And then there's also Runic Ward on the gear to help me cast spell, right? So I only have 2 pieces of Runic Ward on the gear, just enough for me to cast Frostflame Nova. I also recover Runic Ward really fast. This is due to Warding Rune of Nourishment, which give me 50% life recovery from flask applied to Runic Ward. And because I have Reverie, it constantly applying a lot of regen to my Runic Ward. And that is how I keep up my Runic Ward. And then the staff that I'm using looks insane for a like fire-based Flameblast build, and it's actually relatively easy to craft. But yeah, the tech is basically we are using Passion of Ardor, and I'll just quickly show you what the mods look like. It converts all the elemental into fire. So in here I have like before I had like other mods, but yeah, it convert everything into fire. I'll just like quickly show you how to craft this one. What you need is to have a socket, so something like this. Something like this you can easily buy on the markets for, I guess, like 2 or 3 div or a little bit less. You have to hit a 50, like a 1/3, but then otherwise it's should be relatively easy to get. You want to have like, you know, random extra, like 2 damages extra mods and a spell damage or like cold damage. And then it's gonna convert all these coal and other things, like if it's lightning, it's gonna convert into fire with the Passion of Ardor. So you would put Passion of Ardor in here, and that would convert everything into extra fire and fire damage, and freeze into flammability, magnitude, and fire spell. And then you're going to use Transcendent Alloy to give cast speed onto craft onto the staff. So it can be random, but it's guaranteed to be a suffix, so the best case scenario for me is to hit a reduced attribute, but if I hit +7, then obviously it's brick, and then you start over. But yeah, it's should be relatively easy to get started, but yeah, I hit the +7, so this one is basically bricked. And yeah, that's how I was able to craft my staff. Overall, this is a really fun build. I've enjoyed this build a lot. And visually, I think this build is great. It also play less spammy like other caster. You only need to cast Flameblast and it should prolife and kill everything. So if you're farming like content like Ritual Expeditions, it should be relatively fun to play. Chronomancer just play really well with anything with cooldown recovery, especially with the +1 cooldown tech from the Undying Hate. It is a little bit obscure, it is a little bit harder to do, but if you are able to craft it yourself, it should be relatively fine in my opinion. But yeah, I have a lot of fun this league. Maybe this is my last build before PoE 1, next patch of PoE 1. But yeah, if you are a Chronomancer enjoyer and a Flameblast enjoyer, I hope you enjoy this one. Don't try to just like copy my setup 1 for 1. Hopefully you take away something from this, because I think there's a lot of potential on the Chronomancer to push this build even like deeper into the end game and still have fun. That's gonna be it for the video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Hopefully you enjoy this, and I'll see you in the next one.